In terms of films that didn't really ever need a sequel, then 2022's Smile must have been pretty high on that list. It's not as if the first film was particularly good, was it? It was basically a slightly less terrifying version of Pay It Forward with Haley I See Dead People Joel Osment. Although the first Smile film was mostly harmless, I do remember being pretty peed off when I realised it was just an absolute rip-off of 2015's It Follows. Not only that, the concept of Smile wasn't even as interesting or terrifying as It Follows. I mean, yeah, being stalked by a demon that can shapeshift into different people with creepy smiles is not exactly what I'd call fun, but it pales into insignificance when you're being stalked by a walking STI who will shapeshift into your mum before raping you to death. As far as horror film fates go, that one's pretty bad. I'm not saying It Follows was perfect. The fact that the demon could only walk after you, and coupled with its fear of water, meant that a quick flight to Barbados would crush that minor inconvenience. Anyway, where was I? Ah yes, Smile 2. Smile 2 follows the story of Sky Riley. She's a world-famous pop star who's just about to embark on a massive global tour, in a last-ditch attempt to resurrect her ailing career, which became derailed after a terrible car accident and a stint in rehab. Sky is the stereotypical pop star. She's vulnerable and traumatized. Following her accident, she's become addicted to Vicodin, because that's the only thing that numbs the pain. Unfortunately, for some bizarre reason, she decides to chuck her stash of Vicodin down the drain, because that's what drug addicts do, apparently. Well, thick as pig shit ones anyway. That necessitates a late-night visit to her old school friend, a drug dealer, who unfortunately is being tormented by the demonic version of brain herpes. If you haven't seen Smile 2, and you're worried that this review may contain spoilers, then don't, because if you've seen Smile 1, then you've already seen this movie. I'm not kidding, Smile 2 is exactly the same as the first one. It follows exactly the same formula, but there's just one difference. Somehow it's managed to be 10 times shitter than the first movie. The main reason for this is that Sky is the most annoying character in the world. Somewhere out in the big wide universe, there's probably even a version of Lady Gaga who's less irritating than her. She really is that fucking annoying. She screams, she shouts, she stamps her feet. She's the typical selfish diva pop star. She bullies people who work for her, and she dumps from a great height on anyone who cares about her. She shat all over her best friend, and she basically kills her boyfriend because she has a bit of a cocaine-crazed tantrum. The upshot of this is that you don't care about her. Usually in a horror film, you're supposed to get some sort of connection with the victim, but this doesn't happen here. She's even more annoying than the heroine in the first movie. Not an easy feat. This character is so annoying I actually thought she got off pretty easy. Call me a sadist, but I actually wanted her to suffer more because she's that much of a dribbling whiner. Another massive problem with Smile 2 is it isn't nearly as unsettling as the first movie. Smile 2 has a runtime of over 2 hours, but there are huge gaps where there is literally nothing happening. It felt like I was watching a Miley Cyrus documentary or something. We get 5-minute dance scenes. We get our heroine singing little songs at the piano. We get her gazing out of the window. Just get on with it! We also get about 200 extended scenes of her guzzling water in what has to be some of the most blatant and irritating product placement I've ever seen. There are huge parts of the story where nothing creepy or scary happens. At least the first film had creepy moments. To be honest, I actually got pretty bored and started looking at the football scores on my phone. This is something I have never ever done in a cinema before. The sad thing is, the film actually started pretty well. The shooting scene with the drug dealers was pretty good. I also like the way they used a roadkill smear of bloody intestines and limbs to form the smile during the opening credits. That actually showed some invention. But whoever was in charge for the first 5 minutes must have nipped out for a fag and decided not to come back, because after that, it all went to shit. There are a few jump scares, but you can see them coming from a mile away. The creepy smiling people scenes that made the first film stand out are few and far between, and when they do happen, it's done for some reason through the medium of interpretive dance. Scary. Most of the acting is just hilariously bad. Also, the creature effects are awful. The monster still looks like a puppet from Sesame Street that's been wrapped in toilet roll and dipped in dog shit. The ending was not only predictable, but was obviously written by an illiterate 5-year-old with the imaginative capacity of a lump of jelly. The whole "it was all a dream" just left me seriously fucked off that I'd sat through 2 hours of this complete and utter toss. All this has left me scratching my head, wondering about the film's IMDb rating, which at the time of this recording is 7.4. There must be a lot of people out there who like their horror boring, unscary, and complete and utter wank.